We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Until the killing of black men, black mothers' sons, is as important as the killing of white men, white mothers' sons. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
That which touches me the most is that I had a chance to work with people, passing on to others that which was passed on to me.
To me, young people come first. They have the courage where we fail. And if I can but shed some light as they carry us through the gale, we who believe in freedom cannot rest.
Talking to you.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
The older I get, the better I know that
The secret to my going on.
It's been the
razor in the hands of the young to kick against the storm.
Struggling myself don't mean a whole lot. I've come to realize that teaching others to stand up and fight is the only way my struggle survives. We who believe in freedom cannot rest.
Talking to you.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
I'm a woman who speaks in a voice and God must be heard.
She must be heard.
At times I can't be quiet. Difficult, I'm about
Bound to no man's word.
Not needing to clutch for power, not needing the light
Just to
shine on me.
shine on me.
I need to be just one in the number as we stand against tyranny.
Everybody say,
We who believe in freedom cannot rest.
talking to you.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
Let the church sing.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
Please rise and body your spirit as we say together our Sunday covenant. Love is the spirit of our people, and service is our call. To build the beloved community, to seek fuller truths in love, to dwell together in peace, to offer aid and affirmation, and to tend to our mutual well-being. This is our covenant. Please remain standing.
Happy February, happy Black History Month, everyone. We appreciate you all standing and continuing to rise for the singing of what was referred to as the National Negro Hymn. Now we refer to as the National Negro Anthem. Lift up your voice and sing. One more time. Keep going. And don't be discouraged if you don't know the words, okay? We have them there for you. This is a wonderful time for you to practice, yes?
Lift every voice and sing.
Lift every voice and till life in heaven ring. Chase felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with the steady beat, yet with the have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that with tears has been. Yes, we have come treading our path through the blood. The gloomy path till now we stand where the white gleam, where the white gleam of the sun is
Yes, indeed, it is a good morning, All Souls. My name is Sharon Niss. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm honored to serve as your worship associate this morning. In light of today's theme, I've been reflecting on the influential Black women in my life. Not the nationally known or should be known leaders, but the daily life sheroes in my life. So I'd like to share some of their names. And as I do so, I invite you to reflect on the influential women in your life. Dr. Bessie Muhonja, a friend in Virginia who taught me that intent always trumps impact. Not intent, please, let's not get this wrong. Impact always trumps intent. Dr. Ketty Anyeko, a grad school colleague of mine who was willing to disrupt our shared peace as housemates in the Philippines in order to promote truth. Deborah Stanley, whose sharp eye for justice cut through any nice lies you were tempted to name, and whose sexual health advocacy in Indiana was truly barrier-breaking. Bobby Woods, whose motherly advocacy never tired in protecting our city's youth in South Bend. Cheryl Wilson, my boss and dear friend in Kansas, who taught me that showing up really matters. Dr. Ilana Lancaster, one of my supervisors in DC, who called out extractive systems for what they really are. In this congregation, Makani Tungara, whose impeccable wisdom and compassion keep me focused on what matters. Cheryl McLeod, a fellow restorative justice advocate in Maryland, whose advocacy does not have a bedtime. Pat Neal, whose passion for justice through historical truth remains a guiding light, and for whom retirement is not about taking a rest. Dr. Roxy Allen, whose professionalism and friendship over 20 years have supported and guided me through many twists and turns in life. I could go on. I grew up with an independent, compassionate, professional mother who worked hard to ensure my gender was not seen as a barrier for my dignity or value. However, it took time, and especially through friendship and partnership with Black women, where I developed more of an awareness of my unique identity as a white woman. And I remain grateful for Black women, present and past, who helped me become the woman I am today. Wherever your gender and identity placement may be, we hope All Souls is helping you become the person you are today. Even if today is the first time you're here. And if that's the case, we encourage you to fill out the connection card with your information, and if you're in person, to give it to the beautiful people at the welcome table in Pierce Hall after the service, who will help you get more acquainted with our community. All Souls has not always been the paragon of justice that we fight for. And we recognize that this city, and indeed our own church buildings, have been built on the stolen labor of Black people of all genders. And we commit individually and collectively to continually work to shift into closer alignment with our vision of the beloved community. Relationships are at the core of building that justice-seeking community. Let's take a moment now to greet your neighbor online and in person, and perhaps ask each other about your sheroes. When the bell rings, please return to your seats as the service continues. Let us greet each other.
Good morning, All Souls. I'm Reverend Anastasia, and I am delighted and honored to be one of your ministers and to serve on a diverse professional team for this wonderful congregation. And I'm going to invite my young friends to come forward for our Time for All Ages, which is a special program this morning. Every Sunday during Black History Month, i.e. February, we're going to have one of you interview one of the elders of our community. So we are going to learn from the lived experiences of those who have journeyed a little bit longer on this path of life. So we are going to start this right when you all get settled.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Naya, and today I get to talk with Miss Marsha for Black History Month. Miss Marsha is a very special member of our community, and she has lots of wisdom and stories to share. I'm really excited that she's here with me today.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll start with the first question. Who inspired you when you were growing up?
Oh, there's so many people who inspired me. You know, first and foremost, I have to mention my mother, who was a person in the theater, in speech and drama, but someone who cared about others and was an activist in her own right. She was a teacher, and just someone who helped me understand who I was, but also cared about others around us.
What can kids do to help keep Black history alive?
So is the question what keeps Black history alive, or
What can kids do? Yeah.
what can keep Black history alive?
What can kids do? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What can kids do?
Oh, what can kids do? Oh my goodness, that's for you all. Oh, well, first of all, I would say you can learn about people, you can learn about movements, social movements, you can learn about communities, Black communities that have helped to shape this country and the world around you. That is what will keep it alive, what you learn, and then once you learn, what you teach others. You can keep it inside, but you've got to share it.
What story from Black history gives you hope?
Well, once again, there are so many stories, but I would say what gives me the most hope that this country can change is a fight that occurred largely at the what we call judicial level in the courts, when we fought for the desegregation of schools. We fought and we won. And that fight was taken to the Supreme Court, but it began in the streets, it began in the communities, it began with people who cared about what it meant for our society to ensure that everyone had the best education that this country could provide. It showed us that we could change as a country. And that's what gives me hope that I saw in the year that I was born. So I was born in 1954. And in 1954, people didn't have the opportunity to go to the schools that were the best this country had to offer. And we began to open the doors, and I say began because it has been a long fight, and it is a fight still ongoing. But we began to open the doors with that court decision.
Is there a lesson from Black history that you think kids my age should know more than what you've shared?
I would say the lesson has been not being afraid to move out of your comfort zone. You know, all too often we learn about who we are and we become so steadfast in that we forget that there are other people, other communities. And so sometimes just getting to know the other people and the other communities is a lesson that I think can help us grow as a community, as a country, as a society.
Okay. And then this is the last question. Is there a woman in Black history you think that we should celebrate more?
Wow. Oh, these are great questions. So I'm going to name someone from this church that many of you may know, but others of you may not. And that person was Hilda Mason. Hilda Mason used to sit right in that pew almost every Sunday when I started coming to this church. She was a member of the city council and maybe a member of the school board. My memory as I'm getting older isn't always as sharp as it used to be. But the key thing about Hilda Mason was that she was someone who was fearless. She was a part of a statehood party at a time when many people in the District of Columbia didn't even think about the district and what was happening to people in the District of Columbia, that we were being denied our rights, that we were being denied our rights at a time when we were paying taxes, fighting in wars. So she worked to build a party and then became a member of the city council to help to assure not only that rights for statehood could be considered, but also that other basic rights and human needs were met. And she helped to build this church. And that's who I think we should all celebrate, we should remember, and we should acknowledge.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. I think we're all grateful that you shared them.
And thank you for interviewing me. We are so honored to have someone like you a part of this.
Let us hold these important questions and these wise answers in our hearts and minds as we transition to the next part of our morning. For our young friends, you can go to religious education or up to youth group or return to your families back in the pews, and let us sing together Sia Hamba.
Good morning, All Souls. That was worth the price of admission right there, wasn't it? Oh my gosh, that was great. I'm Jeff Wilkla. I'm the co-chair of the Stewardship Committee, which a group I shepherd with the very capable Barbara Myers, who's joining us from Florida. Hey, Barbara. We are a small but mighty group and growing group of passionate volunteers and staff, and we would like to invite you to join us. Stewardship is the act of caring responsibly for something entrusted to us. In this case, a revered and historic church, which for more than 200 years has served as a powerful beacon of justice and compassion through some of the nation's most challenging times. We think this is one of the most important ministries of this church, taking care of it. All Souls plays a critical role in our lives and in our community. Some might say now more than ever. And we all play an important role in making that happen, investing our time, our abilities, and our financial support to sustain and grow this mission. So the annual stewardship campaign is when we each make a financial commitment for the coming year, and we invite you to help us with this congregation-wide effort. We're recruiting visiting stewards and offering a training here at All Souls on February 21st, Saturday, from 10 to noon. And there will be an online session shortly after that for those who can't make it, but it'll be a lot more fun in person. Visiting stewards will go out and have conversations with folks in the church. We aren't going to be able to get to everybody, but we'll get as many as we can based on how many people sign up to help out with this. They are not folks who are asking for money. Nor do we ask them to suggest an amount that you should give. Visiting stewards are people who care deeply about our church and mission. They support the spiritual practice of our shared relationship with All Souls. And they like to engage in thoughtful reflections on that relationship. You are welcome to come to this Visiting Stewards orientation. You can be more curious than committed. Just come and find out what it's about, and then we can find out how you can help. Please RSVP on your connection card if you're interested in helping, or just come talk to one of us after the service. We will kick off the stewardship campaign on Sunday, March 1st with a luncheon for everyone hosted by Donna Olson's fabulous hospitality volunteers. Plan to be here. It will be a very special occasion. And we hope you will consider giving as generously as possible of your time and your financial support to All Souls. Thank you.
After our service and our social hour next week, My colleague, Reverend Rob Keithan, is going to be going on a very welcomed 4-month sabbatical. We will bless his time away and hope that he will find spaciousness as well as the joy of engaging in tasks, unlike justice making or spiritual growth, that he could declare complete and walk away from. Meanwhile, we here will be leaning into shared ministry. We are a spirit-growing, justice-seeking people, after all, and do this work collectively. To help bring some sense of continuity of presence, as well as fresh insights into spiritual growth and our justice work, Reverend Dr. Latanya Purnell is going to consistently be serving as our liturgist during Reverend Rob's sabbatical. She is a minister in what could be called our sibling denomination, the United Church of Christ. They attended the Pacific School of Religion for seminary and have a Doctor of Philosophy and Educational Leadership and Policy Studies from Indiana University. Committed to social justice and youth development, Dr. Purnell's work emphasizes collaboration and community engagement to foster inclusive spaces for diverse populations. They currently serve as the Associate Director of Welcoming Schools program at the Human Rights Campaign Foundation, focusing on creating LGBTQ inclusive educational environments and supporting family diversity. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Reverend Dr. Latanya.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Anastasia. It's really great to be with you today. Her introduction sounded better than I thought I was, so I'm pretty happy about that. My name is Reverend Latanya Purnell, Reverend Dr. Latanya Purnell. I always forget that doctor piece of it. I use she, they pronouns. And so I'm really happy to be with you today. As we gather in this sacred space, we honor February as Black History Month, not only as a remembrance, but a living testament. This year, we walk with the wisdom of our theme, She Carried Us. She carried us through hush of prayers and outroar of protest. She carried us through the sorrows and through song. She carried us when the road was uncertain, when survival itself was a resistance, when hope felt fragile but refused to die. Black history lives in stories, in struggles, in resilience, in creativity, in faith, and in ongoing work of liberation. It lives in grandmothers, in freedom fighters, in caregivers, in truth tellers, in everyday saints who keep loving, building, resisting, and believing. It lives in us. This month invites us not to remember, but to recommit to truth, to justice, to survival with dignity, to wholeness in a beloved community. Few invitations into our shared life. After 2 postponements, our Find Our Ministry fair is finally happening today. If you have been wondering where you belong, where you might connect, or how your gifts might find expression in this community, this is a beautiful place to begin. Ministry here is not something a few people do, it's something we build together. We also invite you to our upcoming spiritual mini retreat, a gentle space for reflection, grounding, and renewal. It is now happening on Saturday, February 28th from 10 to 3. In a world that moves fast and asks much of us, it is an opportunity to slow down, listen inward, and tend to your spirit. Throughout Black History Month, I encourage you to engage in opportunities of learning, justice, and reflection, shared in our newsletter and on our website. Liberation is not a memory alone. It is a practice. It is survival. It is sacred work still unfolding. This afternoon, our Black Souls Affinity Group is inviting you to a special program with Sabrina Johnson of the Cress Wesleyan Institute that hosts a dialogue on race between white and black, members and everyone else. All Souls at 12:30 p.m. in the Easton Room. This is an invitation for everyone in the church who is interested in racial justice. Come, listen, and contribute. We offer congratulations to two of our newer members, Ethan T. and Emma Sabata, if I messed up your name, please forgive me, who are sharing news of their engagement. They will be married in June. Ethan and Emma, our joy is to add you to ours. Woohoo! George W. Hatchard, father of Jeffrey Hatchard, father-in-law of Jamie Ferrer, and grandfather of Isaac Hatchard, passed away on January 18th. We send love to Jeffrey, Jamie, Isaac, and their extended family. We hold those facing illness, grief, recovery, and loss, those standing at uncertain thresholds, those quietly overwhelmed, and those who continue through care, courage, and quiet resilience to choose hope. If you're tired, grieving, afraid, or angry, this community stands with you. You do not have to carry this moment alone. Reach out to our congregational care team. Let us breathe together. Enter into a moment of shared silence. Hold this city, its people, and one another in fierce, faithful love. I invite you to uplift in the chat or in sacred silent space of your heart the people, places, or causes that you carry with us today. Our digital connection card and our online e-news is something that we hope that you join in with us. So please join me in prayer. Spirit of life, breathe within us. Wisdom of our mothers, strength of our ancestors. We come as we are, weary, hopeful, grieving, grateful, searching, and still becoming. In this Black History Month, we remember those who carried us, women who prayed us through, women who marched us forward, women who loved us into survival, women who dreamed freedom into being. May their courage live within us. May their wisdom steady us. May their unfinished work call us forward. Where there is injustice, deepen our commitment. Where there is racism, strengthen our resolve. Where voices are silent, give us the courage to speak. Where bodies are tired, grant rest and renewal. Hold these weary from fighting simply to be seen, safe, and free. Comfort those carrying just grief across generations. Restore those whose spirit feel worn thin. Teach us as womanist wisdom to survive without losing tenderness, to resist without losing love, to seek justice without abandoning joy, to become whole together. Make us builder of a beloved community where dignity is sacred, justice is practiced, love is courageous, and liberation is shared. Ground us in truth, open us in heart, send us ready to live and love as we proclaim. Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so.
Alice Walker's definition of a womanist from In Search of Our Mother's Gardens, Womanist Prose. Womanist, 1, from womanish, opposite of girlish, that is frivolous, irresponsible, not serious. A Black feminist or feminist of color, from the Black folk expression of mothers to female children, you acting womanish, that is, like a woman, usually referring to outrageous, audacious, courageous, or willful behavior, wanting to know more and in greater depth than is considered good for one, interested in doing grown-up things, acting grown-up, being grown-up, interchangeable with another Black folk expression, you trying to be grown, responsible, in charge, serious. 2, also, a woman who loves other women, sexually and/or non-sexually, appreciates and prefers women's culture, women's emotional flexibility, values tears as natural counterbalance of laughter, and women's strength. Sometimes loves individual men, sexually and/or non-sexually, committed to survival and wholeness of entire people, male and female. Not a separatist, except periodically for health. Traditionally a universalist, as in, Mama, why are we brown, pink, and yellow, and our cousins are white, beige, and black? Answer, well, you know, the colored race is just like a flower garden, with every color flower represented. Traditionally capable, as in, Mama, I'm walking to Canada, and I'm taking you and a bunch of other slaves with me. Reply, it wouldn't be the first time. 3, loves music, loves dance, loves the moon, loves the spirit, loves love and food and roundness, loves struggle, loves the folk, loves herself, regardless. And 4, womanist is to feminist as purple is to lavender.
Amen, amen. This morning, I want to center a theological tradition called womanist theology, a way of understanding God, justice, and human dignity that emerges from the lived experience of being Black, of being a woman, and of frequently and too often being poor, because it is these women whose wisdom can speak to us of resiliency and survival. Beloveds, we are looking to find our own resiliency. We are looking to survive, and we're looking to thrive. So let's talk about womanism together, which is a little hard to do because it likes to dance around definitions. It does not want to be boxed in. It is more of a you know it when you see it sort of thing. But one thing I can tell you is that womanists often like to begin by talking about their mothers and grandmothers, and I promise you Miss Marcia's response about her grandmother was not planted. In the words of Shirley Ann Williams, quote, and when we, to use Alice Walker's lovely phrase, go in search of our mother's gardens, it is not really to learn who trampled on them or even why. We usually know that already. Rather, it's to learn what our mothers planted there, what they thought as they sowed, and how they survived the blighting of so many fruits. Alice Walker, who first coined the term womanist in her book, In Search of Our Mother's Gardens, tells a story about her mother, who worked long days as a sharecropper, raising children, tending to the needs of others, and still found time late at night to create beauty in a small flower garden. Walker realized that many Black women before her never had the luxury of writing novels, or painting, or composing music. Their art took other forms, nurturing children, holding communities together, singing in church, cooking meals, creating beauty where none was supposed to exist. Walker names such women as outrageous, audacious, responsible, serious, committed to women's culture and community, and most importantly, committed to the survival and wholeness of entire people, male and female. And today, we would absolutely include all of our siblings with their full spectrum of gender identities as being among, within, and essential to the survival and wholeness of our entire people. Walker said, and I invite you to listen, she said that womanists had the creativity of survival. Let's experience the luscious generative quality of that phrase. How can we engage in the creativity of survival? What does practicing womanism, what does this act of creatively surviving look like? For me, I have found the greatest clarity in the definition offered by womanist scholar Laeli Phillips. She writes, "Womanism manifests 5 overarching characteristics. It is anti-oppressionist, vernacular, non-ideological, communitarianism, and spiritualized." And each of these words matters, and don't worry, I'm going to break them down for you. Phillips says that anti-oppressionists supersedes and organizes all labels that reference specific forms of oppression, such as being anti-sexist, anti-racist, anti-heterosexist, anti-homophobic, anti-xenophobic, and all the like, extending the reach of womanism into zones of oppression that may not yet be related to labelable identities, and for which there is not yet even language. This is important because womanism is not about ranking oppressions or competing over who suffers more. It is about dismantling the very systems that require suffering in the first place. Phillips says womanism is vernacular, or sometimes we say just regular, like we're regular people. It is grounded in everyday life, in food, in shelters, relationships, communications, body, health, love, birth, death. Not elite knowledge, not specialized language, though they do have a way with words. It is about what it takes to get through a day. Phillips says womanism is non-ideological. It refuses rigid boundaries. It does not function through a you're either in or you're out stance. Womanism is relational, dialogical. It makes room for disagreement and complexity while still holding on to justice. In this matters in a world where activism, and I'd include in that liberal activism, often becomes purity politics, where belonging is conditional, where people are afraid of getting it wrong. Womanism says, stay in relationship. Growth happens in connection. Womanists trust that relationships can accommodate disagreement, conflict, and anger, simultaneously with agreement, affinity, and love. That is what being in covenantal community is about. I see you here that I'm speaking to you. Awesome. Philip says that womenism is communitarian. Oh, I love that. It rhymes with Unitarian. Maybe we could just say we're communitarian Unitarians, by which we would mean committed to collective well-being. Not individual success, not exceptional achievement, though we should honor those who have risen so far, but rather the flourishing of the whole community across race, across class, across generations, across the human and more than human world. Because isn't life on this planet amazing and sacred? Communitarianism isn't a philosophical commitment. It is about taking actions in small and large ways towards social change that fosters this state of collective well-being. And finally, Philip says that womanism is spiritualized, which is distinct from other social movements. It openly acknowledges that justice is not just political, it is spiritual, that the material and the transcendent are intertwined, that care for bodies and care for souls are not separate projects. There is a poem that I love that I think is a good example of how a womanist might blend the spiritual with the vernacular, with the non-ideological. It is entitled, God Says Yes to Me by Kaylin Haught. I asked God if it was okay to be melodramatic, and she said yes. I asked her if it was okay to be short, and she said, it sure is. I asked her if I could wear nail polish or not wear nail polish, and she said, honey, she calls me that sometimes. She said, you can do just exactly what you want to do. Thanks, God, I said. And is it even okay if I don't paragraph my letters? Sweet cakes, God said. Who knows where she picked that up? What I'm telling you is, yes, yes, yes. Womanist theology begins right there with the sacred yes to claim your own fullness, your own authenticity, your own liberation, your own flourishing in the everyday places of your life. And I'll tell you, if you go out in the world now that you're listening to this, you'll find womanists all around you. I want to tell a story about this. My husband and I have lived on and off Capitol Hill for 22 years now, and one of the things that I insist on when we're choosing where to live is how close it is to the Rumsey Pool. Now, if you don't know, Rumsey was the first integrated public pool in Washington, D.C., and we liked to go there over the years as we moved in and out of the city, and so much so that we'd go there so often that people there would begin to know us. And there was this particular lifeguard who, after we had moved away and come back again, said, you two, you're still together. And we, swimming in our pools, held up our hands and said, we're engaged now. And then we moved away and came back, because this is how we do things. And they said, you're still here, you're back. And we said, and now we're married. And then we moved away and we came back. We moved a lot. And they said, newlyweds. And we said, we're expecting a baby. And I'll say, I learned things that communities are people who help you track your milestones in life. And it wasn't just us. They had these banners and bulletin boards up celebrating the swim teams and those whose personal times were the pool's best, and notices on their boards of different life events, including members of the pool community who had passed away. Now, about 2 years ago, and this is easy to track, I was in the locker room, and it was just the time of day where the water aerobics community was changing after one of their sessions. And I'll say the water aerobics community was a prominent presence within the Rumsey Pool. And they were mostly women, not just women, but mostly. Some younger women, but mostly older. All body types, but generally larger and rounder. All ethnicities, but mostly Black. And I'll tell you, I've never taken a water aerobics class, but I have chatted with these women over the decades that I have attended this pool. And almost 2 years ago, in the locker room, there was a specific memory. There was this one of the women who had a push laundry cart, and in it she had this bag amongst her other things, and she was pulling out these little packets for Valentine's Day. And she had made all these packets of cards and candy and little treats and was giving them out to every person in the locker room from her water aerobics class. And she turned to me and she goes, "Sweetheart, you should have one too, darling." And she pressed one into my hand. And then they continued talking as they do, because they really need to figure out who amongst them were going to be representing their community at a memorial service for one of them who had passed. It was coming up next Tuesday, and they needed to make sure it was done right. And then also remember that next Thursday, they had committed to showing up for a city council hearing that was a DPR, a Department of Parks and Recs oversight hearing, because the Park Service had made commitments about aqua aerobic scheduling and registration that they were not keeping. And they were going to show up to make sure that that was corrected. And throughout all of that, there were references to God and Spirit and Jesus and hope. And I knew that no one would leave that locker room without a blessing. God bless you, be blessed, blessings on your day. What beautiful gardens of community and well-being, love and justice seeking. Friends, there are womanists all around you. Now, if Alice Walker gives womanism its poetic soul, Reverend Dr. Katie Cannon gives it its moral backbone. Dr. Cannon, who was also one of my favorite seminary professors, referred to womanist ethics as moral wisdom born of struggle. Cannon argued that womanism begins with embodied experience. She wrote that Black women have had to make ethical decisions in situations shaped by racism, sexism, poverty, and violence, often with no good options available. They met this regular blighting of their gardens with daily moral intelligence as they learned how to live and help all of us live in the face of systematic harm. Cannon centered the lives of Black women domestic workers who were forced to navigate the caring of white families while too often being separated from their own children, who endured humiliation while maintaining dignity, who found ways to survive in systems that offered no protection. Cannon told stories of creative moral agency, the ability to make life-giving choices in life-denying systems. Cannon said that these poor Black women were not morally deficient as they are so often villainized as. Rather, we should understand their moral brilliance. So let's talk about the challenges that face Black women today. And there are many. For example, by mid-2025, a recent study published by MSNBC made headlines for a shocking statistic. Nearly 3,000 Black women exited the American labor force in the 3 months prior. This article attributes the mass exodus to reasons like federal job cuts and the dismantling of DEI programs, with issues like inflation, student loan debt, automation, and underrepresentation in growing tech sectors. All this to say is sometimes we think that these things are just language or programs like DEI are just performative, and they are not. They affect real people and real employment and real jobs. And there are many other issues I could talk about, but today I want to name the maternal health crisis facing Black women in America. Because if they are going to be raising so many of our children in homes and classrooms and daycares and in communities and houses of faith like ours, shouldn't they live to survive to raise their own children? And I'll say the statistics are stark. Black women in America are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women, a disparity that persists regardless of education, class, or insurance status. It is about structural racism in medicine. It is about the social and spiritual injustice embodied in the most intimate of human experience. Black women's pain is less likely to be believed. Their symptoms are more likely to be dismissed. Their bodies are often treated as strong rather than just regular and vulnerable, as if strength means you don't need care. You might remember that Serena Williams almost died giving birth. And Serena Williams is a woman who radiates force. And if her body could be dismissed, imagine how many others are. I want to tell you about 3. Consider Dr. Shalon Irving, a 36-year-old epidemiologist with the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. She devoted her career to studying health disparities and working towards the very justice she sought in her own life. Her credentials were exceptional: a bachelor's degree, 2 master's degrees, and a PhD in public health. She understood the science and the system, and she had personal connections. And yet, 3 weeks after giving birth to her daughter, Shalon told her doctor repeatedly that something was wrong: high blood pressure, swelling, persistent pain, and she was sent home again and again without adequate treatment. Her symptoms were dismissed, and she collapsed at home and died from complications related to high blood pressure. Her mother, Wanda Irving, later said that there is no manual for surviving the death of a child, especially if that child could have been alive, if her complaints were heard and honored. Or take Amber Rose Isaac, a 26-year-old Bronx resident who she and her loving partner were eagerly anticipating their son's birth. During her pregnancy, Amber was visibly struggling: headaches, dizziness, breathing issues. But again, her concerns were repeatedly dismissed by medical staff. Then, during an emergency cesarean C-section, she developed complications and her heart stopped. What was happening with her medical care was not lost on her. Amber tweeted just days before her death that she couldn't wait to write a tell-all about dealing with incompetent doctors. And then there is Dr. Shanice Wallace, a 30-year-old pediatric chief resident at Indiana University. She devoted her life to caring for children and families. She was educated, respected, and connected, embedded in the world of medicine. And yet 2 days after giving birth to her daughter, she died from complications of preeclampsia. And Dr. Shanice's story resonates with piercing clarity. If even a physician, trained, empowered, and competent, can die from a condition she knew so well, then the problem is not the individual. It is the structures that do not protect Black women's bodies, even when they are medically savvy. These are not isolated household tragedies. They are theological and social and moral failures writ large in flesh and blood. Reverend Dr. Dolores Williams would name this what it is: a theology of suffering that we have normalized that has not yet been dismantled. It is a sign that the world still expects Black women to endure what they should never have to endure. Womanists, who I hope you are actively considering yourself to be, understands that everyday lives, bodies, health, and relationships are sites of divine concern. We womanists do not separate spiritual justice from moral justice, from physical justice, from political justice. So what does womanist theology call us to do? It says clearly, strength is not a substitute for care. Endurance is not the same as justice. Survival should not require heroism. When Black women die giving life in one of the wealthiest nations on earth, it is not a medical crisis. It is a theological scandal. So what does the call of womanism mean to us as a Unitarian, Universalist congregation? It means moving from the admiration of the strength of Black women to accountably creating systems that support our collective flourishing. It is moving from celebration of what they have created and opened for us to structural change that lasts. It is moving from symbolic justice to embodied care. Remember, Alice Walker said that a womanist is committed to the survival and wholeness of entire people. Beloveds, that phrase, survival and wholeness, let us not make it mere poetic decoration. Let us consent to laying upon us a theological claim and a charge to action. May it be so, and amen.
I would like to draw your attention to the connection card once again, and this week's question, how is womanism speaking to you? As the music plays, you're invited to contemplate and reflect on how you would answer this question, and you can also use this time to complete both sides of the card. Thank you, Alma. Building community involves our hearts, our minds, our bodies, and indeed our wallets. If you're able to give, we welcome your financial gifts to this community. This month, we are sharing 50% of our non-pledge plate offerings with Mama Toto Village. Based in Ward 7, Mama Toto Village is devoted to serving Black women through the creation of career pathways in maternal health and providing accessible services so that women can make the most informed decisions about their maternity care, parenting, and lives. We will now collect the connection cards, and the offering will be gratefully received. We encourage you to give generously in support of Mama Toto Village, as well as to support the ongoing mission and ministries of All Souls.
Some years ago, philanthropist and entertainer Oprah Winfrey had an event that she called the Legends Ball. And there's a special that, if you have not seen, is very special indeed. But to celebrate the occasion, she had author Pearl Cleage write a poem entitled "We Speak Your Names." And so what a beautiful opportunity we have on this day where we celebrate Black history, to celebrate Black women. So let's just celebrate the Black women in our lives as we've done, certainly the ones in Jubilee, keeping on our culture, certainly Miss Alma and the ones here in the congregation, keeping the fight strong. This is written by another one whose name we should speak, Dr. Issei Barnwell, who wrote about the success that was happening and the beauty that was found, even unbeknownst to the world around it. This is No Mirrors in My Nana's House.
There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house. And the beauty that I saw in everything, the beauty in everything was in her eyes. There were no mirrors in my Nana's house, no mirrors in my Nana's house.
Beloveds, let's be communitarian Unitarians, committed to the survival and flourishing of all people. May we live the womanist examples, creating community and justice and beautiful gardens in all the unexpected places where justice is yearned for. May it be so, and amen.
Might we rise and adhere to the suggestion of Dr. Bernice Johnson Reagan, who said, you actually have to sing these songs because you might not know when you're gonna need them. Let's all raise it. We who believe in freedom cannot rest.